ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Brought to you by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. Local then, local now. Member FDIC.
All right, it's a Tuesday. We're here to talk to you about sports. It's a special kind of Tuesday. Everybody's been doing like the Tuesday, the 22nd, 2022. Nah, this is just a Tuesday. Welcome in. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. You can be a part of the program by calling the White Claw phone lines at 877-420-TALK. That's 877-420-8255. Text line is open as well, 304-523-2275. I mean, it's Tuesday, but it's like a Taco Tuesday. I mean, does the Tuesday overshadow the importance of it being a Taco Tuesday for you calendar geeks out there? I mean, today's actually a very important day on the calendar. Believe it or not, though. I forget all this 2 stuff. Today is an actual very important day because today is the anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. And for younger listeners, you might not know what that is, and shame on you. Miracle on Ice took place in 1980. As the Olympics have ended here, U.S. hockey did not do so well in this round of the Olympic participation. It did not get out of the quarterfinals. But in 1980, the United States hockey team beats the Soviet Union at Lake Placid in the medal round. And this was a big deal because the Soviet Union, a juggernaut, winning almost every year. They were like a professional hockey team. They even played against the NHL All-Stars in some exhibition games and beat the NHL All-Stars. They were that good of a team, and the United States goes out with this plucky young group of college kids here, led by Herb Brooks, and the United States beats the defending and four-time gold medalist Soviet Union 4-3 in the medal round. And that wasn't even for the gold. A lot of people forget that. That was in the medal round. That wasn't for the gold. And Herb Brooks, probably one of the greatest sports speeches of the 20th century, maybe of all time. And I know it might be fun to go back and look at the games on YouTube because really we didn't know what the outcome was. This was tape delayed because the International Committee decided to play it at 5 in the afternoon instead of 8 o'clock. And, of course, back then the Soviet Union complained that, oh, well, you know, nobody could see it here before 4 a.m. in the Soviet Union. So this game was tape delayed and broadcast to Americans, and you found out that way. But Herb Brooks, one of the greatest speeches of all time. And if you've seen the movie Miracle, Kurt Russell does a fantastic job of delivering Herb Brooks' speech. It's a great movie to watch if you haven't seen it. The speech goes like this. Great moments are born from great opportunity. And this is the speech he gave to his team before they went out on the ice. A bunch of college kids. He coached some of them in college. But great moments are born from great opportunity. And that's what you have here tonight, boys. That's what you've earned here tonight. One game. If we played them 10 times, they might win 9, but not this game. Not tonight. Tonight we skate with them. Tonight we stay with them. And we shut them down because we can. Tonight, we are the greatest hockey team in the world. You were born to be hockey players, every one of you, and you were meant to be here tonight. This is your time. Their time is done. It's over. I'm sick and tired of hearing about what a great hockey team the Soviets have. Screw them. This is your time. Now go out there and take it. Now, Herb did a better job, of course. He put a lot more passion into it, and Kurt Russell in the movie did a fantastic job as well. If you haven't seen Miracle, you should watch it, owe it to yourself to see it. One of probably the best sports movies of all time. So, a couple questions from that today. Is the Miracle on Ice the greatest sporting event of the 20th century? Is it the greatest moment in sports in the 20th century? And what's one of the best sports movies you've seen based on a moment? Is Miracle one of the all-time greats? I know the Miracle on Ice is one of the all-time great events in sports. How's the movie hold for you, for those of you who have seen it? Of course, I know it's easy to throw in the We Are Marshall as, hey, a great sports movie. We Are Marshall, I get it. The audience is a little biased here today. But that's kind of where I'm going today. What is your favorite sports movie? It can be Miracle, your favorite sports moment. And would you agree, I want to hear a good argument on this, that the Miracle on Ice is the greatest sports moment of at least the 20th century? And, of course, Herb Brooks, one of the class acts. Last guy left off the roster in 1960. So he was and that team wins the gold. But he's the last guy left off the roster of the U.S. team, 1960. So he definitely wanted to win this 20 years later. So Miracle on Ice, it is the anniversary of that event. And, of course, we got Marshall basketball to get into as well. Thundering Herd getting the win over Southern Miss. Dan D'Antoni said in his post-game comments last night, a road win's a road win, and you'll take it. You'll take the win. I even talked to a couple of people today when I was out. They're like, hey, Herd looked good. Herd looked good. We'll take the win. Marshall improving to 11-17, 4-10 in Conference USA. And of course, at this point, Marshall's going to be one of the low seeds in Conference USA. Won't be the lowest seed because Southern Miss is probably going to hold that distinction. 6-21, 1-13 now in Conference USA. And Marshall gets the win. It could have been worse for Southern Miss, but Marshall kind of took its foot off the gas, let up a little bit. Herd wins this one 74-60. Marshall at one point led by 20. And there were some times where Southern Miss cut it, made it interesting. At the same time, though, I really didn't think that Marshall would throw this one away. Of all games, I knew Marshall could get this one. Andrew Taylor had 17 points. Tavion Kinsey had 16. Good outing for the Thundering Herd. I mean, there's some things you got to clean up, but you look at what Marshall was able to do from the field, 27-57. Three-point shot, got to work on that a little bit, 7-20. Free throws really didn't hurt the Herd this time, 13-19. Could have made more. Southern Miss, 7-12 from the free throw line, 5-18 from the three-point line, and they shot 24 of 63. The thing that I was looking for was turnovers, and Marshall got 12 points off turnovers, Southern Miss 10. Second chance points belong to Southern Miss, 16-7. Points in the paint, got to do better, but it still was better. 36 points in the paint. Southern Miss only got 32, so I like that. That's a good number there. And you look at some of the other numbers, far as what the Herd was able to do, limited fouling, that was good. Rebounding, 35 rebounds for the Herd, 41 for Southern Miss. I'd like to see Marshall win that battle just a few more times. 28 defensive boards for Southern Miss, only 13 on the offensive glass. Marshall only 5 offensive rebounds, but 30 defensive boards. So you got to work on that a little bit. Southern Miss, though, did a better job on the boards. Marshall gets the victory. It doesn't matter. So we'll talk a little bit more about this. Get your phone calls in. Again, the White Claw phone line is open, 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. We're going to get your text in as well. Several ways we can take your text today. We got multiple questions for you. Of course, we want to get your feedback on this Marshall game. Some Bengals news. We'll get into that a little bit later on. All of that's coming up. It is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Presented by Huntington Federal Savings Bank.
Our text line is open, 304-523-2275. That's 304-523-2275. Paul Swann, your host for today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We're reliving the Miracle on Ice anniversary of the United States hockey team beating the Soviet Union, Lake Placid, going on to win the gold medal. And of course, we've got Marshall basketball, Thundering Herd getting the win, moving up the Conference USA ladder, and now opportunity to get some business done against Middle Tennessee. That's coming up this week. We'll have it for you right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Dan D'Antoni show is coming up tonight. That is 7:06. We'll have that for you after the statewide sports line. For those of you listening live, keep it right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So I got the text line open for you. Kind of curious about some of your thoughts on what's that sports movie, that favorite sports moment. You know, for me, it would be Miracle. Now, the movie came out well after the Miracle on Ice happened, but I'm sure it inspired a different generation, a newer generation of fans for hockey to maybe take the sport up. What's that movie that maybe inspired you? Is there a movie? And I mean, Space Jam. You can throw Space Jam out there as well because, I mean, Michael Jordan was everything and then some back in the day. And so, yeah, I think Jordan though on the court inspired a lot of people, but him telling his story of going out and playing baseball and then coming back to save the earth from the Toons there, with the Toons, the Monstars. I watched that movie recently before I watched the LeBron James version. Do not watch the LeBron James version. It is total product placement by Warner Brothers. And that's it. It's a infomercial for Warner Brothers products. Even the crowd. It was nice to look at some of the Easter eggs in the crowd of Space Jam: A New Legacy, just to see how ridiculous it was, all the product placement going on. But I'm sure there's that sports movie. For some, it might be Miracle. For some, it might be We Are Marshall. Yeah, they're really a sports movie that maybe caught your attention growing up, and you're like, didn't know that. And you heard this for a while. A lot of kids coming to Marshall. We Are Marshall. Hey, we saw the movie. That's why we know about the university. We know about the story through We Are Marshall. And that did have an impact. I wonder if it still has an impact, because every time I turn around, I'll see on some of the cable channels flipping dials, hey, there's We Are Marshall. For the longest time, it was, still the Nashville Network? I would see We Are Marshall all the time on the Nashville Network. Like, okay, I don't know why the Nashville Network's showing this, but here it is. And of course, as I was told earlier by our interns, that they still show it at the Student Center every single day on loop. I'm sure there's got to be some other movies they can loop in there, but We Are Marshall on the Student Center. So if you're hanging out in the Student Center every single day, you get to see We Are Marshall every single day. They got to work in a few documentaries as well. The Novak documentary, Ashes to Glory, worked that in there as well. There was the Cam Henderson documentary she did as well. So, and actually, if you're not familiar with Ashes to Glory, because I know we do have some younger folks in the audience, Ashes to Glory was a documentary prior to We Are Marshall, and there were some similarities there. It's a great documentary. Deb Novak did a fantastic job, and of course, there were some interviews in there that you might not have gotten if she didn't set it all to film. So that's where we're at. Text line 304-523-2275, 304-523-2275. And of course, there are so many sports movies you can choose from as far as inspirational moments, figures in history that maybe you didn't know about. There's all kinds of, and I'm not talking about just like fun-themed movies. Yeah, just like historical figures. Jesse Owens' story. I remember that a long time ago. I'm dating myself a little bit. And of course, you have more contemporary movies about every single thing under the sun. So text line 304-523-2275, 304-523-2275. And of course, we've got basketball to talk about, as the Herd looked pretty good. That was what I got today. The Herd looked pretty good. The two conversations I got today. One, I like the new AD. And two, Herd looked pretty good. Maybe they're starting to put it together. So pretty optimistic. And then on top of that AD conversation, and I got this from several people, a lot of people are still a little, and this isn't a reflection on the hire of Christian Spears, who we'll find out on Friday what he's all about personally, as he'll be introduced in a media event. This will be a formal introduction, but I have it on good authority that he's made some phone calls already to at least, I know some donors he's spoken to. Yeah, I don't know how many other people he's talked to, but he's hit the ground running, it seems, already making a few phone calls, talking to people who are part of the infrastructure here, maybe the Big Green. I know just a couple of people that have told me, hey, I've got a chance to talk to him. Pretty happy with so far what I've heard. So we're going to find out more about him, but where are you now? Because I know there's still a few people that are thinking, Jeff should have got the job. Jeff O'Malley should have got the job. And I've heard things like, loyalty. He put so many years into the program. He should have been rewarded. And those are all fair statements. I mean, Jeff has been with the program for a long time, and he has definitely guided Marshall through a lot of choppy waters here as of late. Of course, the Sun Belt and everything else that has happened here since the departure of Mike Hamrick from the position. So at the same time, I haven't heard anyone really say that Marshall picked the wrong guy. I haven't heard that, though. I've heard, man, it would have been great if Jeff would have got the job. And I wonder what Jeff's future is going to look like, of course. And he's definitely been an instrument many years at the university. He's had a lot of service. I hope he continues to be someone that the university will call upon. But I like to see him get his opportunity. I like to see him get his opportunity, if not at Marshall, somewhere else. And, maybe he can take that experience and that energy somewhere else and really improve that program. And you never know. Maybe Jeff comes back one day. I don't know if that would be his career aspirations. Our text line, 304-523-2275. This texter writes, "Hey, Paul, I thought we came out fast last night, especially Kinsey. A lot of high energy. We also moved the ball around to find the open shot, which is different from earlier in season when we were throwing our shots up. Would you agree with that?" Yeah, I think the ball movement was a lot better. I don't know if lesser opponent maybe made that happen or you did that despite of the lesser opponent. I don't think that Southern Miss was necessarily a pushover. They were pretty scrappy, but I think Marshall was starting to put some things together, so I would agree with that. The texter also writes, "Good road win, 3 out of 4. We didn't fold under pressure, which shows maturity, which is improvement, right?" Yeah, I agree. You can lose, but if you don't fold under pressure, that is something that shows some growth, and that you can always be calm and cool and handle the moment. I mean, you can still lose, but you don't fold. You can handle what happens. Texter also adds they feel that the bench is the best in league. Okay, I'm not going to go that far. Let's disagree. Let's agree to disagree right now. I don't know if the bench is the best in the league, man to man, top to bottom. I don't know if the bench is the best in the league. And by me saying that, I hope that inspires the bench to be the best in the league. But let's look at the bench here. No, I'm not going to do that. Let's just be fair. It's good, but at the same time, it's not the best in the league. However, the texter does say that thinks coach has done a great job getting everyone ready for the tournament. I think you're right. We'll be peaking at the right time, and Miracle on Ice is the best I've seen. Ali with Will Smith, runner-up, and that is from Holmes. It's a good one, Ali with Will Smith as Muhammad Ali, so that's a good choice there. I'm not sure it's number 2 on my list, but Miracle's 1. I'll determine number 3 later, because if I don't say We Are Marshall is 2, I'm going to hear about that. So I'm ranking a Miracle on Ice, because I'm playing to my audience here. Miracle on Ice and We Are Marshall. I'll just do that 1 and 2. 3 is up for grabs. Text line is 304-523-2275, 304-523-2275. Do you think Marshall's got the best bench in Conference USA? Seriously, do you think Marshall's got the best bench in Conference USA? I want to hear that. And your argument why, or your argument against it. That's on the text line. Phone line is open as well, 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. This hour brought to you by White Claw Hard Seltzer Made Pure. More coming up with this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Brought to you by Huntington Federal Savings Bank, the local bank that's here for every step of your life's journey. Member FDIC.
Phone line brought to you by White Claw. It's hard seltzer, and it's made pure at 877-420-TALK. That is 877-420-8255. Welcome back to The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line as well, 304-523-2275. You like playing football and want a chance to do it once again? I saw this on social earlier. I had to share it. Marshall football walk-on information meeting is taking place March 9th, 5 p.m. It's going to be at the team meeting room at the Shuey building. Must be a current Marshall student. So I've encouraged our intern staff to go walk on and try to be a part of that. We'll see what happens. I don't think it looks good, but actually, no. I think I'm going to send one of you guys over there just to kind of be a spy, see what happens. That's what's happening. I got to flip a coin later, see which one's going over. So we're sending one over. We're gonna spy on that meeting. We're gonna find out what it's like to be a walk-on candidate for Charles Huff and his team. That's pretty cool, though. That's pretty cool that they're offering that opportunity. I mean, sometimes you can find a diamond in the rough with a walk-on kid that maybe got overlooked in the recruiting process, wanted to come to Marshall, has aspirations, wants to come on. You get preferred walk-ons, of course, so you're invited. But I like the fact that, maybe basketball should do that as well. Maybe basketball should have open tryouts, for students. Anybody can just show up, see what you got. You got to survive. You got to survive 2 minutes with Tavion Kinsey. That's the process. If you're going to be a walk-on for Marshall basketball, you got to survive 2 minutes with Tavion Kinsey. You got to be able to match him, play a game of horse maybe with him. Play horse with Tavion. Could you imagine that? Tavion would just be out there just smoking fools. He might let you get one in to see what you got. See, be blocking all your shots. Actually, I put him on the free throw line first, see if I can hit a whole bunch of those. If I could hit free throws, then they would go on. I'd have like the NBA skills competition, have the three-point shot. I'd have some drills. I'd have 2 minutes with Tavion Kinsey, see if you survive that. Or make it fair a little bit. Maybe I can make it fair. Survive 5 minutes with Tavion Kinsey. Give you a chance, a running start to go here. But I like that. So we have opportunities for football players on campus. If you think you got game, think you can play for Coach Huff, they're doing this thing March 9th, 5 p.m. I will have a spy in there. I will be inserting and betting someone in that. I want pictures. I want details. I want to see how the gap is closed with walk-on students. I want to see all of that stuff. I might have to see. Actually, I don't know what the medical waivers will look like. I don't know what they're going to actually try to do, so we'll have to investigate that a little bit more. But if you're actually a Marshall student, you think you got a shot, you think you can be on the herd, I don't know. Maybe you think you could be a new kicker or something. You could work special teams. That is coming up March 9th, 5 p.m. And, of course, the new schedule is out. Practice coming up for the Thundering Herd soon. You got plenty of days where the Herd's going to be trying to get better, closing the gap. Of course, you follow Coach Huff. You see already on social media, he's year two of showing on social media players that are trusting the process, closing the gap, getting the work done. I mean, this is light years ahead of what it was just a couple of seasons ago on social media. This stuff didn't exist. You did not see this level of social media. And I know it's designed partially to be seen by potential recruits. I know that's part of the game. Of course, it's to energize the fan base as well. That's a big part of it. But, other recruits are seeing this. This is a different group of coaching. It's changed. These are coaches that are more adept at the transfer portal. I was actually having this conversation. We're talking about Bob Huggins. The Mountaineers lose again last night. And, Bob Huggins, he's flummoxed. I don't know if there's a better word for it. He's flummoxed, and he's telling the media that, guys that don't want to play, don't want to show up, they're going to be just sitting on the bench watching the game here, and they're going to like it. Things like that. And, he's going to have to hit the transfer portal because the transfer portal hit him, that's for sure. And can some of these long-standing old-school coaches, Bob Huggins has done it all. Other than winning a national championship, he's done it all, won, so many games, been at so many different levels. Could him and his coaching staff adapt to the transfer portal, bringing guys in? Dan D'Antoni, he's been talking about it. You've heard that for a few weeks now. You're going to have to look at the transfer portal. Going to have to evaluate that more because, if there's available talent out there and you can bring it to Marshall, bring that talent to Marshall. And we've seen some of the other sports embrace it as well. I think the Marshall women have done a good job with the transfer portal. We were talking to volleyball a couple weeks ago with Ari Agnes, transfer portal. She got someone off the transfer portal. So that's a lot coming up here in these next few weeks after the season's over. what's it going to look like hitting the transfer portal? How many players are going to take advantage of that? We might see more common for teams to maybe spend less time on the road. I don't think football is going to be that. I don't know if football is going to spend less time on the road or just spend more time, extra resources on the transfer portal. I think that's what you're going to see here with this. Of course, it's a new frontier. Maybe we'll see players hit the transfer portal, don't find a spot, enroll somewhere, and then maybe try to walk on. That could be a possibility as well. Phone line is 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. The text line is 304-523-2275. That's 304-523-2275. Some news today from the Cincinnati Bengals, some signings. Signed wide receiver Trent Taylor to the off-season roster, and also signed 3 assistant coaches. Bengals today signed linebackers coach James Betcher, secondary cornerbacks coach Charles Burks, and assistant offensive line coach Derek Frazier. So you got an assistant offensive line coach right there. You need that. And you're working a little bit on the defense. So it looks like the Bengals are trying to bolster and strengthen. And I can't wait to see what free agency looks like as well for the AFC champs. Getting some stuff done here. Getting some stuff done quickly. All right, we're going to take a timeout, come back. We're going to get more of your text in, like this one. Texter writes, the Herd doesn't have the best bench. Fact is, we have one of the worst teams in CUSA, and the best sports movie is Kingpin. All right, let me reread that for you. Herd doesn't have the best bench. Fact is, we have one of the worst teams in Conference USA. And the texter says the best sports movie is Kingpin. That's not a bad choice. Is it the best sports movie of all time? Is it greater than Miracle? No, I don't think so. Is it better than We Are Marshall? That's where the real debate begins, I think. Number one's, you can't touch my number one. You just can't do it. You will try, and I hope you do. But you can't touch my number one. It's the greatest event of all time in sports, and it's the great sports movie. It's actually a pretty good movie. But Kingpin, is it higher than We Are Marshall? Or is it right there? Is it 3? Does Kingpin fall in our 3rd spot? 304-523-2275. 304-523-2275. Our producer today, one of them, Ryan Sirk, being from the Marshall soccer team, has yelled out constantly, "Goal." It's a movie about a soccer player who sort of like a walk-on. I'm not sure if that makes our top 5. I'll have to watch this movie to find out, but you can suggest something as well. Again, 304-523-2275, as today is the anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. Al Michaels, man. If his career wasn't on an upward trajectory, it definitely was after that game. One of the greatest sports calls of all time, one of the most memorable anyway, where he exclaims, 5 seconds left, "Do you believe in miracles?" Yes. And that line has followed him for the rest of his career. So I'm sure he wasn't sitting there just planning, how am I going to end this here? Some sportscasters do. However, that was just organic. And then the United States wins the gold medal, and people forget that because the Miracle was such a momentous occasion, beating the Russian hockey machine. No one did that. More coming up. It's The Drive, ESPN 941 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Presented by Huntington Federal Savings Bank.
It's our final segment. We're taking your phone calls, 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. Of course, your favorite thing to do is hit the text line, 304-523-2275. So our makeshift list of memorable moments in sports, movie-wise. Of course, the Miracle on Ice anniversary is today. We Are Marshall, because, well, where are we at? And Kingpin. That's Kingpin. And again, I'm going to inform the producer in the booth who looks at me with that expression. I've not seen Goal. I am not vouching for the movie Goal about a soccer player. If someone else not in that room over there wants to vouch for this movie, they can call 420-TALK, 877-420-8255. If Chris Grassy wants to call in and vouch for this movie, I'll accept it. Chris Grassy's not calling in. You're not that good. We'll see. All right, again, text line 304-523-2275. That's 304-523-2275. Today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We got to hit on a couple of things. Of course, this stuff doesn't really get mentioned as much, so I'll mention it. Marshall's Paige Banton and Madeline Hart named to the 2022 Conference USA Swimming and Diving All-Academic Team today. Both received honor roll acclaim from the league and Marshall University last year while earning the conference's academic medal. So congratulations to them. Herd's in action this week at the Conference USA Championships in Lynchburg, Virginia. Looking forward to seeing what happens there. I've actually been kind of looking at some of the coverage from the Sun Belt because I'm following some of the Sun Belt accounts. Sun Belt does a pretty good job of covering sports like track and field. I'm hoping that's going to really step up when Marshall's in the league as well. They're pretty good. They're using video. I'm seeing some events. I was pretty impressed with their social media. That's another reason why I hope Marshall's able to get out of Conference USA sooner, just because I feel like the Sun Belt, they're a scrappy bunch as far as their social media, as far as their sports information, what they do. I know that's I'm saying nice things about the new league, but at the same time, you can just tell there's a difference there. There really is, and it's maybe because they probably have more staff. They have it feels like you're getting more going into this league, and that this is a scrappy league, kind of fighting for its position. It's not the American, because everyone says the American's the best of the group of five, and here's the Sun Belt. Like, okay, we'll take that bet, we'll take that challenge. So I'm pretty impressed with that so far. And of course, it's track and field, sure, but these student athletes deserve all the attention they get. And if they don't get enough, it's on me and some of the other members of the media. They deserve some acclaim and some recognition. So I'm glad we can do that for them. But still, besides, that's a guy I want to get on, Jeff Small. We need to get him on. Of course, we need to get on. We need to talk to Coach Lyon as well. Softball's ramping up, so we got to get some of these coaches on as well. I kind of want to take a temperature of the room as well. Put him on the spot. Hey, what do you think of your new boss? And I can't wait to hear the list of how great he is. Because I'm going to ask Coach. I use Coach as a generic term for any of the coaches we'll get on. Hey, Coach, what do you think of the new hire? Oh, he's great. He's great. Yeah, that's what we're going to hear. We're going to hear great, fantastic. Actually, no. Again, if you weren't with us earlier, I talked to a couple of people who have actually had some conversations with him, and they were impressed. They seemed happy with the hire. You read the Herald-Dispatch, my guy Chuck Landon was even good with the hire. That's it. That's what you need. If Chuck's on your side, it's going to be smooth sailing for the guy. Seriously. Chuck was happy with it. I'm not saying Chuck's never happy. I'm just saying Chuck was happy with it. So my guy was happy with it. Everybody should be happy with it. And I did have a couple of conversations personally with a couple of people who weren't down on the hire, just the fact that Jeff didn't get the job. And I get that completely. I like Jeff O'Malley. I thought he did a fantastic job. I don't think I can say that enough. He did a fantastic job. He should get more credit than he's probably getting right now for everything he did. He helped this thing together. This thing could have fallen apart with Jeff being the interim. It didn't. And the league Marshall is in right now is falling apart. And what did Jeff help orchestrate? Because let's be honest, Jeff wasn't alone in this endeavor, but Jeff wasn't sitting on the sideline just along for the ride. He took serious turns driving the car here. He wasn't the sole reason, but he also wasn't a sideline passenger. He wasn't an observer either. He had a lot of input and a lot of conversations and trying to put this thing together. So give him a lot of credit, because maybe Marshall wouldn't be in the Sun Belt right now. Maybe Marshall would have taken the deal to stay in Conference USA, hang out with Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee and a couple of the other teams. Could Marshall have dominated a refabricated Conference USA? Would you want Marshall and the configuration that's going to happen dominate that league? Or would you like to be in a league that's going to probably get a lot more notoriety, recognition, and there's going to be some great matchups in that league? So hats off to Jeff O'Malley and getting the job done there. And I can't wait to hear what the vision will be for Marshall Athletics. And I think the vision's got to be the baseball park. I've heard that come up. Baseball has got to be a priority. And I think, all right, here we go. Just got some breaking news in. Marshall University's Board of Governors files lawsuit in Cabell County Circuit Court to counter Conference USA's demand for arbitration. So Marshall is going to leave July 1st for Sun Belt. Guess who was on the program the other day talking about what should happen? We had attorney Rusty Webb on. He mentioned that. So Marshall University Board of Governors filing lawsuit in Cabell County Circuit Court to counter Conference USA's demand for arbitration. So that is happening. Okay, here it is. The statement reads, and thankfully somebody was checking email as I was asking for this stuff. The following is a statement from Marshall Athletics regarding the university's lawsuit filed against Conference USA in Cabell County Circuit Court. For more than 2 months, Marshall University has attempted to reach a resolution with Conference USA regarding our decision not to participate in the league after this academic year. However, no progress has been made. The action we brought yesterday is the beginning of litigation intended to protect our rights, help us reach an agreement in a timely manner, and clear the way for our shift in conference affiliation. We look forward to a successful resolution of this matter and a bright future with the Sun Belt Conference. And again, as this news was breaking, I was able to get a note off, and I got the statement back. Here it is. Again, for more than 2 months, Marshall University has attempted to reach a resolution with Conference USA regarding our decision not to participate in the league after this academic year. No progress has been made. So the university is beginning a litigation to help protect the Thundering Herd. So that's where we stand. We'll be back tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W231BS Huntington, broadcasting from the Oscars Breakfast Burgers and Brew Studios. This is ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.